Hello, my name is Anya, and today we're going to add a multi-step user onboarding process to our application for all of the new user signups. I just have the sign-up login component made by Bubble. If we test this out, I can sign up and put in a password, and it redirects me to the home page. And we know this is home because I just wrote home really big in the center. But since this was my first time making an account, I would have liked to have a pop-up show me a couple steps of onboarding, maybe how to use the application, something to that extent. So to do that, I'm going to go over here to the home page and just add a pop-up. I'm going to call this pop-up onboarding. And I'm going to make the layout of this pop-up a column layout. Right now it's fixed width and I'm saying fit height to content. So as I add more elements, this pop-up's length will grow. First thing I'm going to do is drag a group on here. This group is going to be a column as well. I'm going to stretch it all the way down, and then I'm just saying fit height to content. This is going to be step 1 of our onboarding, but for the sake of this tutorial, I'm not going to go too much in depth of the design of this. This is going to be different for each person's app. And I just want to share the general idea. So this will say step 1 of onboarding. And just so that it's not empty over there, I'm going to add in an image. That I'm just getting from the Pexels library. You can imagine this would be a tutorial of how to use your app or something to that extent. This is looking great. Just for my personal thing, I'm going to add 16 pixels of padding on all sides. Not that I'm focusing on design, I think it just makes it a little easier on the eyes. And we can look at this group and call it group step 1. And now we can remove the min height and it'll just fix to the height of the elements inside it. Now, this is just step 1 of our onboarding. I'm going to add a couple more steps here. So let's call this step 2. And just change the image here so we can visually see that it's step 2. And I'm just going to add in a step 3. This is looking good, but I don't want all 3 steps visible. I want it one at a time with maybe a button at the bottom that allows the user to switch steps. So I'm just going to call this button next. And I don't want to be able to see all of these at once. So what we're going to do is I'm going to click on each row, each group. Let's label them accordingly so we stay organized. And I need to have some method of storing which step the person is on. And I'm going to do that using custom states. On this pop-up, I'm going to click this little information under custom states and click add a new custom state. This is going to be step and it's just going to be a number. And by default, I want it to be number 1. Now I'm going to go to each of the groups and say that all of them are not going to be visible on page load. All of them are going to collapse when hidden, and each one is only going to be visible when the step that the custom states reads is a step of this group. But how do we know what step it is? We need to go over here to Appearance and click Type of Content. Here we're going to add a number, and we're just going to go manually in and change the data source. So this is step 1, so the number is going to be 1, and we're going to say when pop-up onboarding's step is this group's number, then only this element is visible. I'm going to go ahead and change that for each of these. Number 2, and since this whole conditional was dynamic, I'm just going to paste it in. And let's do the same for step 3. And you could see how with this method you could add as many steps as you need. If we preview this right now, we won't see anything actually because this pop-up has no way of being shown. So just for the sake of testing, I'm going to say when page is loaded, we just want to show our pop-up onboarding. Let's try that again. Page is loading, we see pop-up onboarding, and these are not disappearing. I think I know the cause. First, I noticed that this says step 1, this should be step 3. And let's go back to the groups. Over here, we never said it's not visible on page load, and we never said to collapse it when hidden. Now that we fixed that, I can reload this page, and we can see that we only see the first step. Now, I want to be able to go to the next step, and I'm clicking next, and nothing is happening because we currently don't have any workflow associated with this next button. So let's change that. Somehow, with this next, we need to be able to change the number step that we're on. So I'm going to say when button next is clicked, we're going to set the state of our pop-up onboarding step to whatever it is right now plus 1. We just want to increment it by 1 at every time. So let's try that again. It's just going to show by default. I'm going to do step by step. I'm going to click next. It's going to set the step to 2, and we can see step 2 show up. I'm going to do the same thing again, set step 2, 3, and we see step 3 show up. But this was our last step, and I'm clicking next. It's incrementing the number, and it disappeared, but that wasn't a really nice UI. It's actually because I clicked out of it. But we're going 1, 2, 3, and then it's just this like small next, which doesn't look nice at all. So the way we need to resolve this is with conditionals. I'm going to say when pop-up onboarding step is group steps 3's number, when it's at the last step, this text is going to actually read close. And over here, this is only going to happen when pop-up onboarding step is not group 3's number. And I'm going to copy paste this, and when it is group 3's number, all we're going to do is just hide our pop-up. Let's test this out now. So by default it's going, we can click next, step 2, step 3, we can see this reads close now, we click it and the pop-up goes away. So it's working exactly how we want. Now we just need to tie it in with the sign up login workflow. I'm going to go to my sign up login page. And right now, the workflows are really simple for both sign up login. It's just signing the user up and then going to page home. One way we could do this is we could say, go to page home and send a URL parameter, something in here that the pop-up will check for, and if it's there, something like onboarding equals yes, it'll show. But the problem with that is if they haven't actually completed the onboarding and they're never forced to, the pop-up will just never show again. So what we need to do is go over here to our user data type and create a new field. I'm going to call this onboarding complete. And this is just going to be a simple yes or no. Yes, the onboarding is completed, or no, it's not. And by default, it's going to be no. So whenever a new user signs up, the onboarding completed is going to be no. Then when we go to our home page, on this page is loaded, we're going to show pop-up onboarding only when the current user's onboarding complete is no. Only when they haven't completed the onboarding do we need to show it to them. And then over here, when we hide the pop-up onboarding, we're also going to make changes to our current user. And we're going to say that onboarding complete is yes. Let's try this out. I want to run it on the sign up login page, and let's create a new user. And let's look at this step by step. So now I'm going to click sign up, and this is a new user. They're going to sign the user up. And now we're going to navigate to page home. Now the page is loaded. It's going to show the pop-up onboarding only when the current user's onboarding complete is no. And since it is no, it's going to show our pop-up. Now, when we click next, it goes to step 2, next step 3, this reads close, and when we click close, it's going to first hide our pop-up, and then it's going to say that the current user's onboarding complete is going to be yes. From now, so in the beginning of this video, I made an account, and that account actually hasn't completed the onboarding. So right now, I'm just logging in with an existing account. But when we go to this page, it's still going to show me the onboarding, which is exactly the functionality that we want. So thank you for watching. I hope this was helpful.